Hi, my name's Lee Matthews and I'm a physiotherapist, and this is Pilates Rehab Relax. Today's session is done at a really gentle level. You work at your own pace. I'm laying on an exercise mat on a carpeted floor. For a lot of you though, it might not be very safe getting on and off of the floor, so in that case maybe have a go at doing them on your bed. You might just pull the duvet out the way though, just so it's a slightly firmer surface. And if you're not confident that you can do the whole of this routine, just work through a small amount of it. And I'd also say that if you're not sure of where to start, I've actually recorded a video called 5 Gentle Pilates Exercises in Laying, and that's even more gentle than this because we're going to go through a few exercises here. So work at your pace, build up slowly, and remember at any time you can stop and just wait for the next exercise. So I don't mind, the odd twinge. It might feel like you're using a few muscles in ways you've not been used to, but you work at your pace, and I'd much rather you went away from this feeling like you enjoyed it and that you can come back and do it again, because if you get really sore, you're just not going to want to do it again. So let's have a go, shall we? I'm going to bring myself onto the mat and let's get started. I'm using a nice folded towel to give me some support under my neck with this, and you might do the same at home. And what I'm going to do for the first exercise, we're going to practice what we call centering our pelvis. So one of the features of Pilates is this focus on the position of our pelvis. So if I pop my hands roughly over where my belly button is in a triangle shape there, and what I'm going to start to think about doing is just slowly tilting the small of my back into the mat and then tilting the other way to arch my back away from the mat and then slowly back and forwards. So what I'm doing here is I'm rocking the pelvis back and forwards a few times, nice and gently. Now if you imagine that you had a marble maybe balanced in the middle of that triangle, so as I go in this direction, I'm rolling that marble towards my mouth, and as I go in the opposite direction, as I arch my back away from the bed, I'm then rolling that marble towards my feet. So I'm just going to do that a couple of times. And each time you do that, I want you to do it a little bit less until eventually you try and keep that marble right in the middle. When we found that nice level position there, when we centered our pelvis, you should just have a gentle curve in the back. So you shouldn't be pushed into the bed, and equally so, you shouldn't be miles away from it there. So we're looking for that nice mid position with this, and that's what we call centering the pelvis. Imagine you've got a piece of string tied to the crown of your head and your tailbone, and then just feel that lengthening there. Another thing we're going to have a focus on is those wide collarbones. So very often when we sat at a desk, we get this sort of rounding of our shoulders. And with Pilates, with our focus on posture, we think about having those wide shoulders as well there. By having this sound foundation, it means that when we're exercising, we're reinforcing good posture and we're not putting any undue stress and strain on any one particular part of our body. So the next thing we're going to focus on is engaging the core, and that's the word we use to describe this corset of muscle that supports our back. So a good way we can find that, if we take our hands, so pop them either side of your tummy button, and I've gone about 2 or 3 inches either side there. Now if you go to cough, so what you find is that you naturally recruit those muscles anyway. So coughing, laughing, when we go to sneeze, all those things use that muscle without us even realising. And what we're going to do is just gently try and draw that muscle in towards the mat. So imagine that you're trying to do up a really tight pair of trousers that you really love. You don't want to throw them away, but you're going to struggle to fit into them. So what we need to do is we just draw that tummy button down towards the mat, down towards the bed if you're laying on a bed. And what you should hopefully feel is underneath where your fingers are, the muscles just tense up slightly and then relax again. So we'll do 5 of those in a row if that's all right. And for some of you, this actually might be where you just focus all of your attention to begin with. Get that contraction good, get comfortable with engaging it. So here we go. Again, draw that tummy button in, engage that core, and we'll hold that for 5 seconds. And you notice that when I'm doing that, I don't stop breathing, I'm able to talk, and I'm gently engaging that muscle. We hold for a few seconds, and then relax. And again, so draw the tummy button in, and hold. So I'm not bracing as hard as I can, it's a gentle sort of 3 out of 5 contraction that I'm aiming for. We hold for a few seconds, and then relax. And again, draw that tummy in, and hold. And whether you're big or tall or small, sure, everyone's got these muscles, we just need to learn how to recruit them better. And relax again. And again, draw that muscle in, and hold. And relax again. Do one more of those. So tense up that muscle, hold for a few seconds, and then relax again. Well, there we go. So that's one of the key principles as well, is engaging the core there. So alongside our focus on posture, alongside that centering of the pelvis, we engage the core as we do many of the exercises we're going to go through today. Now, Pilates is lots of flowing movements. It's about control and precise movements with that. And sometimes they might not be perfectly controlled. We don't mind a little bit of a wobble. We're always looking to concentrate on that movement and have that focus on that flowing movement. And sometimes we actually synchronize that with our breathing as well. And I'll give you some instructions as to when that's appropriate. So we've got this position, we've engaged the core. Well, let's increase the amount of challenge now. So what we're going to do, as I engage that muscle, I'm going to breathe outwards and slide one of my legs out and away from me. So I'm keeping this muscle engaged the whole way through that movement, and then bringing it back in again. So you should have a go at that at home. So perhaps if you start with doing it on your left leg, here we go. So engage the core, and sliding your left leg out and away from you, and then back in again. So we do 5 of those, and if you wanted to engage your breath at the same time, what we'd actually encourage is engage the core, and as you breathe out, so as you exhale, slide the foot away, and then bringing the leg back in again. So the movement outward, we exhale. Again, if you don't worry too much, and if you just want to focus on the movement alone, then that's absolutely fine. So again, engage the core, and out and away from you, and then back in again, and again, and in, and again, and back in again. And if you're confident that you're engaging the core, you don't need to worry about the hands being there either. So let's now do the same on the other leg. So if you do that on your right leg now, so draw those tummy muscles in, and as you exhale, slide the leg out and away from you, and then inhale, bringing it back in again. And let's keep on going there. 5 on this leg as well, so that was 1. And one more time, engage that tummy, and well, hopefully that felt okay. Now you can either carry on doing exactly the same again there, or we can actually do a slightly more challenging movement here. So again, we're going to carry on doing our single leg stretch, but this time I'm going to bring my leg up towards the corner of the room there. So you imagine that you're pointing your toes up to the bit where the wall meets the ceiling, and then back in again. So should you have a go at that at home? So again, engage the core, draw those muscles in, and then back in. So 5 on one leg, 5 on the other. Yeah, so that was 1, And if that's too much, it might be you don't even straighten the leg fully. You might even just lift the leg up and bring it back down again. So again, and one more time. And if you feel uncomfortable with anything, just wait until we get onto the next movement. Yeah, you can always just do 1 or 2 and just stop and wait in this start position until we go on to the next technique. So let's do the same thing on the other leg now. So transferring our attention over to your right. So engage the core and up we go. And back in again. And again. And again, remember, it might just be that as you go up, you're just lifting the leg off, but keeping the leg bent, and that's absolutely fine. So, and one last time, engage the core. There we go. Well, let's bring our attention to the arms now, okay? We're going to bring our arms up towards the ceiling there. So let's find a good position there first of all. And we were doing a movement where we were bringing our leg out alternately. Well, let's do the same with the arm now if that's okay. So I'm going to engage the core muscle, draw that tummy button in, and then with your left arm, let's reach it up and behind you and back in again. So if you've got a bad arm, your movement might be quite a small one, but if you feel that you're able to, you could reach up behind you there. So here we go, draw the core in, we do 5 on one arm and then 5 on the other. So starting with your left arm, engage the core, outward breath, and back in, and again. And one more time. And notice I keep my shoulders wide throughout and I keep the shoulder blade pushed down towards the mat. Well, let's do the same on your right. So again, engage the core and then reaching and back. So as I breathe out, I reach up and behind me. And the whole time, that shoulder blade remains pushed against the mat. And you might get the odd pop and creak as well. There we go. So from those single arm reaches, let's do a technique that we call a shoulder drop. So what I'm going to do this, again, I've been saying about having those nice wide shoulders and that lengthening of our spine, but what I'm going to do this one is actually reach up towards the ceiling and notice how I lifted my shoulder blade off of the mat with this one, and then I bring the shoulder blade back down, pushing down into the mat there. So we go up with one arm and down again. So again, should we do 5 on one side and then 5 on the other? So again, if you start on your left, here we go, so engage the core, and reaching up, and down again. And again, engage those tummy muscles, reaching up to the ceiling, feeling that stretch for a moment, and then back down again, and again. And again. And one more time. Okay, and bringing our attention to the other side. So on your right, same again. So engage the tummy muscles as you breathe out. And then down again. And again. And one last time. So whilst we're in this position, we're going to do one last technique that's called the double leg stretch, level 1. And what we're going to do with this, I'm going to engage the core muscle, and as I breathe outward, I bring the arms up and over. And then imagining that you're drawing around a big beach ball, we're going to make a circular motion back to the start position. And we do that as we breathe in. So for some of you, if you've got a bad shoulder, you might only do a very small movement. And for other people, it might be a really big movement if you've got the space that permits it. So you work at your pace. We keep those shoulder blades pushed into the mat, engage the core, and as you breathe out, and then round the big circle and back to the start position again. So that was 1, we'll do 5 of those, yeah? So here we go, breathe out, and then breathing in, and again, and breathing in, and again, and again. There we go. So you can relax with your arms now. We're going to bring our attention back to the pelvis again. So we were centering the pelvis at the start of the class, and we're going to do an exercise called a pelvic tilt now. So we're going to engage our core. We're going to draw that tummy button in towards our spine, and then what I want you to try and do for me is to push the small of your back into the bed or into the mat. So if you've got your hands tucked into the arch of your back there, you can even feel that you push into them as you do that movement. So I'm engaging my core, I draw the tummy button in, and I flatten the back into the mat there, and then relax again. And again, draw those tummy muscles in, and then flattening the back into the mat, and then relax. So again, we'll do 5 of those. So and again. So it might be quite a subtle movement for you. Some people can be a little bit stiff with this movement here, but do what you're able to. Don't mind a twinge, but if it's really painful, don't force it. So we can actually progress this to doing a shoulder bridge, level 1. So for some of you, if you found that was suitably challenging, just stick with the pelvic tilt. You might have even had enough with just doing 5 of them. But if you're able to, let's try and progress that. And how are we going to do that? We start again with that pelvic tilt. So we engage the muscle, we flatten the small of our back into the mat, and then I'm going to peel my bottom off, a bit like a Mexican wave, one segment at a time, slowly bringing my back away from the bed, engaging that core throughout. I hold for a few seconds, and then slowly, like a Mexican wave, we bring our spine back onto the mat, one segment at a time there. So again, let's try and do 5 of those if that's okay. You might have had enough with just doing 1, but see how you find it. So here we go, let's draw the tummy muscle in, and we're going to peel our tailbone off of the bed, and up we go. Hold for a few seconds, and you might well feel your bottom muscles working a bit here, and then slowly back down again. So don't force it, and you might even just find that your bottom only comes up just a little bit, and that's absolutely fine. So again, engage those tummy muscles, push the small of your back into the bed, and then peeling your tailbone off of the bed, and then slowly back down again, one segment at a time. And sometimes I might say, imagine you've got a Malteser in your belly button that you're trying to roll towards your mouth. So here we go, let's engage those tummy muscles, peeling your tailbone off of the bed, Up we come. Hold it for a few seconds. And then slowly, slowly back down again. There we go. That was 5 of those. So now we're going to go on to doing an exercise that some of you know already. It's called the hip twist level 1. This is a movement where we're going to practice stability. We're going to try and engage that core. And I want you to imagine that you've got a glass of your favourite drink balanced on your knee. So I'm going to imagine that that glass is balanced on my right knee, and I'm going to move my left leg with this one here. So let's do 5 on one leg and then we'll do 5 on the other. So here we go. Engage that core, make sure those muscles are working, and obviously we've got our centered pelvis as well. And here we go, keeping that core engaged. Bring the leg out to the side, and you don't need to go very far with it. It's more about control, because we don't want to spill a drop of that drink. Now keep on going, and I'm going to talk to it. So slowly, slowly keep on going there, and remember not to move that knee at all. And whatever your imaginary drink is, I want you to leave a comment below and tell me what it is. And when we get to the end of today's video, we did this last time and I told you all to leave a comment, and a few of you did. So when we finish the routine today, we're going to go and visit the Pilates imaginary mini bar, and I can shout out the people's names that left a comment and what their drink was. So we're going to do 5 on one leg and then 5 on the other. That's great. Right, and again, let's engage those tummy muscles, and this time your drink is on the other knee, so you're going to keep your left knee completely still as your right knee drops out to the side. And again, this isn't about how far you go, it's about making sure this knee doesn't move at all. And again, engage the core. So Pilates is very much about control. There we go. Well, hopefully you didn't spill too many drops of your drink either. So that was the hip twist level 1. We're now going to go on to do the hip twist level 2. So I'm going to bring my knees and ankles into the midline so they're touching one another. My arms are spread to either side a little bit to give me some space, and I'm going to keep the shoulders pressed down against the mat for this one. Engage those core muscles, and then what I want you to do for me is roll those knees over to one side, and my bottom comes up off of the bed slightly in the direction that I'm rolling away from. I hold for a few seconds, and then again draw those muscles in as you go back to the start position. So engage the core, and as you breathe out, you roll over to one side, keeping the shoulders on the bed, and then you keep those muscles engaged as you come back to the start position. Does that sound okay? Or we'll do 5 to each side if that's all right. So here we go. Engage the core, outward breath. And to the other side again. And my bottom cheek comes up off of the bed. And you might find that one side's got more movement than the other, and that's completely normal. And let's keep going. So engage those tummy muscles, and over to one side, and then back to the middle, and then back to the opposite direction. Nearly there. And one last time to each side. There we go. And that was the hip twist level 2. So for the next exercise, we're going to roll onto our side. So if you roll onto your left side, and what I'm looking for with this position, I want your knees and your ankles together, and I want you to be resting with some support under you. So again, scrunch up that towel or use a cushion if you've got one around, or a pillow. I don't want your hand fixing too much. So imagine that you've got a cake or something resting under your hand there. And ideally, we still want that nice long spine. So basically, you shouldn't be flopped into the bed too much there. It's almost like you could just get the hand under there a little bit. So again, that's the posture to aim for. See how you find it. Do with what you're able to. And my shoulders, my hips, and my ankles should all be in a nice straight line there. So the clam exercise is basically we engage this core muscle. There we go. And your imaginary drink, it's balanced on your belt line now. So that's got to stay completely still as you slowly engage that muscle and bring the knee away from the other. So can you see that my ankles stay touching each other? My drink hopefully never spilt a drop. And it's all about control this. So what you don't want to be doing as you lift up is dropping backwards there. So that's why you've got that imaginary drink balanced on your hip again there. So work at your pace. Let's do 5 on one side. Engage the muscle. And you might well feel this in your bottom muscles a little bit. It's a nice glute exercise. This is the Clam level 1, and the nice thing about Pilates is there's lots of scope for progression with these things, so you can make it as gentle or as hard as you want to. That's great. So for the next exercise, we're going to do an arm opener in this position. So I'm going to bring my arms out in front of me now. If you were holding a paintbrush and you were just going to try and paint a lovely flowing line all the way up to the ceiling and then back down again. So should we do 5 on one side, and then we flip over and do the clam and the arm opener on the other side. So here we go. Engage the core. And again, engage that core. There we go. So let's flip over to the other side and we do the clam and the arm opener on the other arm. So again, you might just roll over to the side, whatever works for you. I'm going to flip over to this side. So again, what I'm looking for, I want my ankles together. I want there to be a nice straight line between the shoulders, the hips and the ankles. Give yourself some support under the neck. Make sure you're in a good position, so there might just be a little gap under here maybe. And hand in front of you, but not giving too much support. So let's do the clam on this side now. Again, 5 of the clam. So imagine you've got your drink balanced on your waist. Here we go. Engage that core muscle. And then lifting that knee away from the other knee, keeping that control. And then back down again. And again, hopefully you're not spilling too much of your drink as you do these. There we go. So we'll now go on to do the arm opener on this side. So again, if you spread your arms in front of you, and what we do, imagine you're going to draw a nice flowing line all the way onto the ceiling above you. So again, engage that core muscle, and then bringing that arm up and over, and then back down again. So we do 5 of those. So I breathe out and I engage the core. And then breathing in again. There we go. So we're going to finish off by doing a position called the cat stretch. So what I'll do now is I'll bring myself into all fours. There we go. So you can make this position easier by bringing the weight over the hips more, and you can make it's harder on the arms, the weight's full. So you do what's comfortable for you. What I'm looking for this movement is to engage the core muscles. So I'm going to lift my belly button up, I suck the belly button up towards the spine, and in this position I'm now going to try and arch my back like a cat. So I'm curling my tailbone underneath me, and I curl my nose underneath me as well. And then we'll bring ourselves back to a nice neutral position, and then I'm going to do the opposite of that. So I'm going to arch my back in the other direction, looking up in front of me and poking my tailbone out and away from me. So again, we'll aim to do 5 of those if that's all right. So here we go. Let's draw the tummy button in, engage the core, curl up into a ball, and then back to the start position and looking up in front of you and poking your bottom out. Okay, that's 1. And keep on going. So engage those tummy muscles. And back to the middle, and then up in front of you. And we can synchronize that with our breaths as we breathe out. We curl up into a ball, and then as you breathe in, and breathe out, and breathe in, and breathe out, and breathe in. And there you go. So how was that? That was a gentle Pilates routine in laying, and well done if you completed the whole session. So if you found that was interesting, there's another laying down session that's at gentle level, and there's different levels of difficulty that I've recorded, so hopefully you found that was okay. You might have discovered a few muscles and joints that you thought were long forgotten, but hopefully it was enjoyable. So, last time I recorded this, I talked about the imaginary drink, and I said if you leave your comment below, let me know what your name is and what that imaginary drink is, and some of you actually did. So, Pilates drink imaginary mini bar. The first person is Jade, who said that she was balancing a drink of Snowball on her leg, and she didn't spill too much of it. We were pleased to hear. Alongside that, Tony had a hot chocolate balanced on her knee, and Tony's daughter had a lemonade. So there you go. That was the Pilates mini bar from last time we recorded it. There might be a few more of you out there that are also going to tell me your drinks. And whilst there's not that many people watching the video and leaving comments, then next time I'll probably be able to read out all your names as well. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Leave a comment because it keeps me encouraged and gives me ideas for new stuff. And look forward to seeing you soon.